the life of the mother is an exception to an anti-abortion policy, we can have that debate. We can't be having the 9 months it's not a baby debate. And that's actually what we're having in this country right now.
I know that everybody wants to focus on Republicans and how dangerous they are, despite the fact that we've got people showing up and protesting outside Supreme Court Justice Holmes, and that as soon almost as the leak of Justice Alito's opinion went out, they put up fencing around the Supreme Court. And CBS Morning News reported that DHS is warning about extremist violence that could come from either side. And I want to play this clip for you, and I just want you out there thinking, why would there be extremist violence if Roe v. Wade is overturned from the side that wants to overturn Roe v. Wade? I mean, are we thinking that this is going to be a moment when people decide, despite the fact that they haven't done it for 50 years, that they're suddenly going to show up and burn down buildings because Roe v. Wade is finally overturned? Just listen to this and understand the lies that you are being told. Extremist violence might happen. That's very much a reality and unfortunately a possibility. But it ain't going to come from the side that's happy that Roe v. Wade got overturned. Listen.
The Department of Homeland Security is warning about an increased threat of extremist violence after the leak of a draft Supreme Court opinion striking down the constitutional right to an abortion. The Associated Press obtained a memo to local government agencies. It says that violence could come from either side of the abortion issue or from other types of extremists seeking to exploit tensions. Yesterday, the Justice Department announced the U.S. Marshals Service has the Supreme Court justices under 24-hour security.
This is not a both sides issue. I'm sorry. We're not going to play this game. And here's what's going on. They recognize that there's a lot of tension and it's a bad look because it's all coming from the lunatic crybabies who can't handle democracy in action. The people that use the term democracy all the time, it's such a tell. There's such irony here. The ones that are saying we have to protect our democracy are terrified of, on this issue, democratic action, meaning people getting to vote in states, which is where this belongs because it is not in the Constitution and we all know it. And that's one component of it. I think the other one is just they realize that there's such a disparity from the approaches of the two sides to this issue. For decades, pro-life organizations worked within the system and the law to try to change hearts and minds and save as many lives as they could. They weren't calling for the overthrow of our judicial system. They were. And I know people say, well, what about this doctor who was, okay, there are lone extremists in any intensely believed ideology. When you look at tens of millions of pro-lifers over multiple decades, it's a tiny group that have ever even tried violence. And the pro-life movement will tell you that is contrary to the ethos of the pro-life movement, of course,
right,
and was also counterproductive. So, you know, it was bad, it was immoral, and it was unhelpful to have any violence, any destruction. Combo. Bad combo, right? So you're wrong and stupid for taking a violent act. And the left doesn't feel that way about a whole range of issues, that violence, destruction are beyond the pale. And they certainly don't feel that way. Look at the things they're saying. This is forced birthing now, that this is a form of the enslavement of women and their uteruses being, manhandled by the state. The stuff they're saying is completely insane. And I think the media is trying to come up with some narrative of, well, there are crazies on both sides. No, actually, the crazies are the ones that want to abort babies all 9 months of a pregnancy.
Which brings me to this cut. A physician here said, when does life begin? It's when you're born. So up to birth, abortions are fine. Listen to this. This is Dr. Yashika Robinson.
How does one qualify as fully human? What makes a human being?
What makes a person a human being is them being born, number one. That's why we have birthdays.
Okay. So the standard, and by the way, I also want to play this because I think it's indicative of the larger political question. Eric Adams, mayor of New York City, says there should be zero restrictions at all on abortion all the way up to and through 9 months of pregnancies, which virtually no one in the entire United States believes. Listen to Eric Adams.
No, I say, and I continue to say, and I stand by this, women should determine what they're going to do with their bodies. I just believe it's unbelievable that men are making these determinations. Women should determine. The overwhelming number of people on the Supreme Court, I don't believe they can deliver a baby. So women should determine what they're going to do with their bodies. I strongly believe that. And I'm not taking a Gallup poll to make that determination. It is something I believe from seeing the women who are in my life, my mother that passed away, my two sisters and others. They should make the determination of what they're going to do with their bodies.
I really mean this. I think Eric Adams is dumb, and he's not smart. And so I don't expect for his constitutional analysis to be strong. Beyond that, though, imagine if you actually took this phrase, Clay, to its extent. A woman can determine what she wants to do with her body. Okay, so if a woman is standing on a bridge threatening to jump, that's her body. So then the police just go, oh, okay, no big deal. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want with your body. This is lunacy. And then even beyond that, the whole point is it's not just the woman's body. What do they not see in the argument? You know what they don't see? They're blind to it intentionally.
That's what it is. They see it. They're afraid because the abortion lobby is so incredibly powerful in the Democrat Party. They're afraid of stepping astride of it. And I would just say this. Every media member worth their salt, first of all, should be asking, do you believe women should be able to have abortions in the 9th month of pregnancy? Joe Biden needs to be asked that. Nancy Pelosi. Everyone in a position of power, Chuck Schumer and Buck. On top of that, when they answer it, if they say yes, then the question should be, so do you disagree with virtually every state in the country? To your point, Buck, if a pregnant mom, God forbid something awful happens to a pregnant mom, unfortunately violence is happening to lots of innocent people all over this country, but if a pregnant mom is 9 months pregnant and she is shot in her stomach and the baby dies and she dies, almost every single criminal statute in America would count that as 2 murders, right?
Yes.
You killed the life of a baby, even though it's still inside the mother and also the mother. So should that only be 1 murder?
Yes.
I mean, that's a question that's easy to ask Eric Adams. You believe that women should be able to make the choice. Why can a woman decide to kill a baby in the 9th month when it is viable? But if someone else shot it, it would be murder.
It's because they rely on the obviously immoral proposition that a woman's desire for the baby inside her is what confers personhood on the baby. Essentially, he would respond to, well, if that mother wanted that baby, then maybe it's a murder. But if that mother didn't want that baby, I mean, which of course is morally illogical and heinous, but I'm just saying this is what they're reduced to. And I see some parallels of disarray on the left right now. Remember during the CRT thing, Clay, when the argument from the left kept shifting. It was, there is no CRT taught in schools. And then it was, well, you don't know what CRT is. And then it was, well, CRT is just honest history. Well, that was over the course of a few weeks. It was changing all the time. You'll see people, particularly the media, say, asking about 9-month abortions is crazy. Nobody would support that. And then the next day, you got the mayor of New York. You've got the Senate candidate in Ohio. I could sit here and rattle off names of politicians who are saying, yeah, 9 months, baby's ready to go. Not a baby if the woman doesn't want it. They're crazy. And they don't know how to argue around this because what are they going to do? They're going to let the American people know that this is an immoral movement? They're going to let them know that the sacrament that the Democrat Party is built on is rooted in contradictory and absurd and malevolent arguments? No. So they're just flailing. They're flailing. They don't even have good arguments.
And by the way, for all the suburban women out there listening, because I do think, Buck, there are a lot of them, I haven't heard any Republican say he wants to take away or she wants to take away birth control. I haven't heard any Republican say
not one
that there shouldn't be access to, for instance, the morning after pill or things that are right there around the time of sex or to prevent pregnancies, all those things. That's important, right? To think about the way that this goes on both sides of a pregnancy, because most people, look, this is an incredibly complex issue that deserves to be discussed in a democratic process and given back to the 50 states, in my opinion. But people can have all different sorts of opinions and not be wrong about birth control. And I mean, you can make your own private choices on all that.
For years, I've gone to pro-life events and donated to pro-life causes, but I'm not going to. For example, life of the mother, rape and incest exceptions. And there are pro-life people, by the way, who will disagree with me, and they have strong arguments on some of those cases that are really. But I'm just saying, okay, well, we can have that discussion, right?
Yes.
We can have the life. If someone disagrees with me, the life of the mother is an exception to an anti-abortion policy. We can have that debate. We can't be having the 9 months it's not a baby debate, and that's actually what we're having in this country right now.